All right.
Welcome.
Here we are to the 6th episode of Joint Doctor Who. Yay, 6th episode.
So we're 6 episodes in.
Hatter,
why don't you explain where we are in the serial and timeline?
We are at the Aztecs, the 6th serial for Doctor Who, and it is, hold on,
4 episodes long.
4 episodes long. I don't know why this says 6. This says 6 from last week, so it's 4 episodes.
Right. The serial,
4
the
episodes.
Aztecs, 4 episodes.
Right.
It ran from
May 23rd, 1964 to January, February, March, April, May, June. To June 13th, 1964. And we watched it tonight.
That's May, June, yeah.
Yeah, May 23rd to June 13th, 1964.
Because there's 4 weeks in a month.
Right. Usually. So, companions, Ian, Susan, Barbara.
Yeah, the companions, as always, and we of course have our main character, the Doctor.
Uh-huh.
Our antagonist for this serial is where is he?
It's his name.
Latoxor. It's Tlotoxer, I think. Or OR. Maybe that's an E in between L and T. Latoxor. Yeah. OXER. No, OR. This is just an R. No.
No.
So TLOXER.
TLOXER.
Yeah, or EXER.
TLOXER.
Latoxor, he's our antagonist. He's the high priest of sacrifices. So, what are we drinking today, Hatter? I'm as always, sipping on our wine. Paisano
wine.
He has a little lightweight.
And I am drinking, he's drinking Colorado Paisano.
And
I'm drinking Captain Morgan Spiced Rum 100, the black label. That's 100 proof. Which, because I have a higher tolerance than he does.
Me after, 4 glasses of Paisano really topped off. I'm at a certain point of drunk, but the Doctor here
he's not driving.
After several...
not driving. we have.
No, I'm not driving.
Yeah,
designated drivers, but I am drunk. But you even more so after 100 proof.
But I live here. I don't drive anywhere.
That's true.
And I have 100 proof.
Drive safe.
Rum.
Drink responsibly, as always.
Use Uber. No one should ever be pulled over or driving drunk. Use Uber. Uber is good. Uber's good.
We talk about Uber every episode introduction now.
Do we?
We should get it as a sponsor. Imagine the money we'd make.
But I drive for Uber, so.
You're an Uber driver yourself.
I'm an Uber driver. I drive people who are drunk home on Fridays and Saturdays.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I do it because I'm bored on Friday and Saturday nights. It's fun, but I get drunk people home and they don't have to mess with.
That's a great way to pick up, a rainy day fun, but you need a hobby.
I do this, the drunk Doctor Who, because I'm bored. I want something to do. I drive Uber on certain nights of the week because I'm bored, because there's something to do. And it's just something fun to do, It's something
That's
to
true.
do. And it helps people. And this doesn't necessarily help you. This is silly funness. The Uber does actually help people, but it's also,
So, for example, if I needed a ride home, that'd be, creating business for Uber.
Right.
Drivers like yourself, I could call, or I could order an Uber on my phone app, and he would drive me home. That'd be awesome.
And I have driven someone home who knew the shop, who was from the shop, who was a customer.
Oh, that's so cool.
The other night.
He ordered you right there when you got off work, and you were right there to drive him home.
They didn't know. It was just funny. It was just odd.
When we talk about the shop, we're talking about, Mr. Hatter's shop, Matt Hatter's House of Games here in Lubbock, Texas, to date and locate our podcast.
If you're watching this and it seems incredibly silly to you, we live in Lubbock, Texas, West Texas, the biggest city in West Texas, and it's all really silly and cool and fun.
Yeah,
That's
lots of alcohol, very silly. If you're watching this, you're probably watching us from. You're already patrons of Mad Hatter's House of Games because you probably suggested there from Dr. Hatter.
Oh, possibly. We have
from the early stages of our
subscribers. 12 subscribers.
Now, you probably know all those people personally.
Yeah, exactly. All 12 subscribers are probably, friends and customers, and they just want to see us drink and, be silly.
Be absolutely silly. Myself, I'm a super lightweight, and I've used the Moffat bucket a couple of times because I'm new to this, so I don't know my limits.
Wine.
Yeah, even, the first time was on Russian Standard, and that very first podcast I drank way too much, exceeded my limits, and then even last episode, somehow, it's strange to me, I don't know, I drank way too much wine way too quickly, and I exceeded my limits anyway.
Exactly.
Speaking of our outside lives and the shop and our friends, I also, we only have 4 episodes to talk about. I also want to talk about a little bit, banter about our personal lives. You're talking earlier before us watching this serial. You're talking about our goals, outside of the podcast. Our whole goal to lose weight.
No.
We're not talking about that on podcast.
Whoa.
We're trying a new thing. We're gonna lose weight.
No.
Next podcast, you won't even recognize us. We're gonna be so thin and fit. Abs, washboard abs.
You're right. No. I simply know that I had a personal high in terms of weight, which is 208 pounds. And I had to buy new pants. Look at the khakis.
Mm-hmm.
On the previous episode, you see me in blue jeans, but notice the khakis. I went to the 40-inch waist instead of the 38 because I hit a point where the 38-inch waist blue jeans gave me migraine headache.
38?
38, yeah, gave me a migraine headache. So I have a 40-inch waist khakis and they're good. But
and how tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
5'9".
I used to be 5'10", but you shrink as you get older.
That's
you
true.
Shrink,
5'10/5'9 at 2'10.
No, 5'9" now. I wish it was 5'10".
From 5'10 to 5'9 at 2'10 is not even bad. I'm 6 foot even. I weigh in the 2'10s. I'm right there with you.
No, I'm. Today I weighed in at 206, and but I should be in 170s. The 170s.
Yeah, me too. I use my body mass index and that whole calculation between your height and your body mass, and I should be like 180. So I have like.
How are you talking about? 180 at 6 foot?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Well, I'm tall, but I'm not super broad. My shoulders, my body mass index. I should be, 180 is healthy.
I have narrow shoulders. You have broad shoulders.
Not broad shoulders. I have medium shoulders at most.
Reasonably broad shoulders.
Yeah, so you got 5'9", slim shoulders. You should be, 170. Me, 6 foot. Medium shoulders. I should be 180. We'll get there. That's our goals for the next.
Okay. I'll go with 180, but you should be
You 170, me 180, maybe 185.
No.
Well, the thing is, once you cut the. No, listen. The thing is,
Doctor Who. I swear, this is Doctor Who.
We'll get there. We have some buffering. We have some buffering time to ad-lib before we get into our episodes. We only have 4 episodes to talk about one of those shorter serials, but I wanted to talk about this for a second. Just for a second. The thing is, you start at this weight, you need to cut all the fat, and then you're just slim, and then you build muscle. Then you're up to like the 185, 190 with the muscle weight, but I don't have that yet. First I'm cutting the fat, and then I'll work up to the muscle weight.
Right.
So you 170, me like 185 at 6 foot. Yeah.
How tall are you?
So I'm 6 foot even.
You're 6 foot.
Is my height.
Okay. And your average width of shoulders.
Yeah, and right now I'm at my body mass index, the BMI? Yeah. I'm like,
God.
in the
don't listen to
110s,
that
I'm
crap.
like 115, which is overweight for
Do
my
not
height.
listen to that crap. That is crap. All
No,
right.
it's science.
You have wine. Drink your wine. I have rum. Drink
Wine?
my rum.
Paisano?
Paisano. All right.
So we buffered a little bit. Oh, we talked about our personal lives. Thank you for joining us on our episode. Next, I wanted to talk about the. Where'd that come from? You just pulled that out of your
Right
pocket?
here. Right here. Came right here.
Captain Morgan.
Captain Morgan 100's Black Label Spiced Rum.
Too much.
Yes, it's too much, but I will drink it.
We're watching. Drinking Paisano.
I eat too much. That's the last part.
We're talking about while we're watching the serials of Doctor Who. This serial.
The
I
Aztecs.
was drinking wine and
The Aztecs.
I'm such a lightweight that I got the hiccups and it reminded us of the World of Warcraft MMO video game where you drink in game and you get the hiccups and you try to type in chat and it slurs your word and adds the THs and then you get the hicks. What a great game. So we talked about our personal lives. Thank you for joining us. As always. Now, I wanted to talk about the production cost again. We had this, we talked about the success of Doctor Who, leading out as a show, and this season is the continued, increase in the production cost. We have what was our last episode? We go back and forth between the sci-fi and historical.
My name is Theophile Grimolo, also known as Hatter. This is Holden, and he's talking about crap, but anyway.
No, I have no. It's not
He's drinking wine.
We're talking about what we're drinking.
We're drinking. We know we're drinking.
Yeah. I'm drinking Paisano.
You're drinking
wine. We already talked about that.
Carlo Rosoni Paisano.
He's just repeating himself. He does that.
It happens.
So last week was the Keys of Marinus. We were talking about the increased budget cost, going from Marco Polo to the Keys of Marinus to now this time the Aztecs. Production wise, we have this increased budget for the show because we back in the day, 1964, whoa.
No, it's okay.
You dipped into your glass there. So,
Exactly.
So making a mess. Look at this. So back in the day, 1964, the Doctor Who show really took off in success. They had an increased budget production-wise, so they got to invest more in the costumes and the set designs, and that really shines, in Marco Polo last week, and then last week we had the Keys of Marinus, and then this week the Aztecs. They had just beautiful costumes, that they custom designed these outfits, these Aztec costumes with the feathers and the plumes and the masks and the warriors and the high priestesses and the goddess. They were dressed in just beautiful outfits, and what I appreciated most was the weaponry when the two warriors, we had Ian. He got set up as a warrior, and then Ixtha was the chosen warrior, and there's that conflict between them. They went into the armory and they went over different weapons. Like they had like you said, the wiffle bat with the. We were talking a lot about
the bits of
onyx.
No.
Obsidian. Sorry.
Obsidian.
Yeah. They had the obsidian put into the pieces of wood. We're talking about, back in the day. Historically, the Aztecs, they used obsidian as their weaponry. You went on vacation to Mexico and you got this obsidian dagger.
Ixanicha.
We also had obsidian spears and the obsidian, weaponry with the...
Right. Obsidian occurs when lava meets water.
Yeah, if you've ever played Minecraft,
Oh my gosh.
water source block hits a lava source block, it makes obsidian.
It happens in Minecraft. Anyway, you cut it until it is sharp, and that is what you use.
Much like glass, you sure shape it. You're stabbing me.
Right, exactly. You use it and
the thing that's
sharp. It's basically a glass, and you use it as a weapon. And that's what they had, because they didn't really have metal as we know it.
They had the big blocks of onyx that they shaped to daggers like that. They also had the little blades that they inserted into their clubs, the bladed clubs and the spears.
Exactly.
They
In this cereal, right? And I went to my wife went to Ichen Icha in Mexico, and that's where I got this dagger, because I collect daggers from where we go.
If the airport doesn't take them.
No airport, or in this case, cruise ship.
Cruise ship.
Yeah.
So border control.
Yeah, it sucks. I hate.
I've never been on a cruise, so I don't know what that's like. Do they have border control on cruise ships?
You're so young. I will help you with your honeymoon. I will help you with your cruise ship.
That's right. Hatter here.
I will help you. I'll help you. It's good.
He's my mentor here, sort of, and he's gonna help me plan my honeymoon. You're gonna be a part of my wedding.
I will.
You're a mentor in my life.
Yes.
Mentor, well experienced.
Yeah. I'll help you. It's all good.
So
yeah.
So we expounded upon Hatter's personal life and how he's had these sort of souvenirs on his travels, and that's really cool, relating to the Aztecs and sort of their weaponry, and how that reflects on the costume design and the budget in the Aztec episodes. Very cool. The time frame for these is back way in the 1400s.
64.
Yeah, 1430, and then 1530 is sort of when the Spaniards invaded Mexico and they took over.
They invaded the Mexicans in the 1500s.
Yeah, but this is back in 1430s. We had the Aztecs. We talked about the companions, and our antagonist is Tlaxor, and sort of, we also had, we talked about how serials have several episodes in them, and that sort of, lets us develop characters. And oh my goodness, did we develop our companions in these episodes? We have Ian. Ian was the warrior of the goddess Yataxa, which happened to be Barbara.
Susan.
Yeah.
Susan develops so much in this serial.
Yeah, and Barbara.
She does. Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara. Barbara really comes into her own as she's the first one onto the scene. She stumbles out of the police box. She stumbles out of the police box. And she finds herself in this sort of temple, this death room. She has all these artifacts. She's a history teacher. So she's telling Barbara, as the history teacher, she's telling him about the Aztec culture, and she slips on this bracelet of a snake, and then she walks through this room, and unbeknownst to her, the characters stumbling onto the scene are antagonist. Loxthor, I'm sorry, and then the other character, what's his name?
You have it there, don't you?
I do. I'm gonna find it. Oddlock, the high priest. So we have the high priest of knowledge and the high priest of sacrifices. The high priest of knowledge is Oddlock, and the high priest of sacrifices is our antagonist Loxthor.
Hey.
So they still.
Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara really comes to her own. She slipped on this serpent armband. She comes to this throne room. The high priest of knowledge, Oddlock, is like, you're trespassing upon holy ground, and then they see the armband, the serpent, which represents her as Yatexa, they're like, oh, you must be the goddess, and then they adorn her in all these really cool, extravagant robes, and she really comes into her own. And this entire serial, you know, she's really, you know, playing the character of Yatexa. She's really getting into, you know, she's getting into everyone's minds. She's playing this character. She's really deceitful, you know, trying to, you know, play her opposition and
at the same time, she tries to play her in such a way that would not allow sacrifice.
She's really interested in the greater good of people. She's trying to help humanity. She's going back in time, and she's trying to change history for the better, which really doesn't work out for her, and we'll get into that later. But we also have
history. You
cannot change history, as the Doctor alludes to later.
And no, it alludes to then.
Yeah, then
explains right then.
Yeah,
he
explains
change history.
You can't exchange history based on his own experiences, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But we also have, you know, Ian. Ian is chosen as this warrior of Yatexa, and he's faced against Ixta, which is the chosen warrior of the Aztecs. So we have the Aztecs. They choose Ixta as, you know, their chosen warrior, who's supposed to earn his position to lead the armies. And then Yatexa, this goddess that shows up, which is really Barbara, but, you know, she shows up as this goddess, and she has her you know, her handmaiden and her advisor, which is the Doctor, a handmaiden who's Susan, and then Ian, who's really her warrior, her chosen warrior, which we talked about that, the obsidian. Yeah, we already talked about that. We got that. But if you
sorry, I'm drunk. Yeah, I'm.
That's
drunk.
The whole point of Doctor.
Drunk Doctor. My wife and I have been to Mexico to Ichen Ichen. It's a series of ziggurats. It's a ziggurat.
Ziggurat. The temples.
You know what a ziggurat is?
Yeah. Well, we have ziggurats in World of Warcraft too. That's my only experience.
Pyramid is straight up like that. A ziggurat is steps like
culmination.
That.
Yeah, the steps.
Same thing. But anyway, no. I have this obsidian. Obsidian is glass made from when lava meets water. Like World of Warcraft.
When you're drunk, you sort of, you know, talk about things we already talked about.
I do that. It's okay.
We talked about the obsidian thing. That's awesome that you want to show up, but
yes,
but we're talking about the companions. We talked about Barbara coming into her own. She's really, you know, taking charge, playing this position that she's been thrown into as Yatexa, this goddess, and then she's really trying to play the two high priestesses against each other.
I don't know if she does it so poorly.
Yeah, she does, but she really tries her best, and there are certain moments where she really takes charge. You know, she shines as a companion.
Agreed.
We also have Ian. We're talking about as the chosen warrior. Oh my gosh, he was my favorite of this serial. He was so cool. Ian, he's saying, you know, it's just common sense, and he's taking charge of this. You know, he's thrown into this position of the chosen warrior of Yatexa, and he's thrown against, you know, Ixta, and there's this back and forth of the alpha males, and, you know, who's strongest, and oh my goodness, they just pose these coolest fight scenes against Ian and Ixta, and he's doing pressure points. He's doing pressure points against Ixta, and he's like, I can take you out with this thumb. And
my thumb.
Oh my gosh, he does this pressure point against his neck, and it's kind of like the Vulcan nerve print. But
Vulcan nerve print.
But, you know, sort of to relate those. But Ian is this, you know, was chemistry or science teacher, but he also knows plenty about biology, apparently, because he does plenty of pressure points, and even when Ixta Ixta and Ian go face to face, you know, Ixta is this really strong opponent, and, you know, he works out, he's this Aztec, and he knows only strength and brute force, and Ian is this guy who knows actually how to fight. You know, he calls it common sense, but he's just this man's man. He's taking charge, and he's using throws. He's using his opponent's strength against him. He's just throwing, and he's using pressure points, and it's just this really cool conflict between Ian and Nyx, the sort of the antagonist minion, and Ian as one of the companions, and they're just butting heads throughout this whole episode, trying to outsmart each other and trying to outstrength each other. And there's this back and forth, several conflicts, and Nyx is very clever and cunning in his own way. He even goes to the doctor and gets into. There's like a T before that. The hyper. Oh yeah, Nyx. He's like he's a secondary antagonist. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So the high priestess sacrifices is Laxor, and then his chosen warrior is Ixtha, and then we have sort of the pro characters, which is Otlak, which is the high priest of knowledge. I
love Otlak.
Yeah, he's
good.
He's rational. He goes to Barbara, which is Yataxa, and he's using common sense.
And the doctor is smitten by whom?
Right. We have this romantic interest. We've gone over romantic interests before in previous serials with Barbara and the characters.
Right, but now with the doctor.
Yeah, but never with the doctor. The doctor. This is the first doctor. I want to talk about. Diving into the previous notes.
No, but
we have the Daleks, and we have Barbara interested in one of the thralls. Yeah. But now, for the very first time, we have the Doctor actually smitten with someone, and he is romantically interested in. Let's see, Chimera. Kemeka. I'm sorry, Kemeka.
And
Cameca. He is smitten with Kemeka. They meet each other in the gardens. The Aztec culture. They have. Once you reach a certain age, I think it's
52.
52. That's exactly what I was gonna say. In the Aztec culture, once you reach 52, you give up your burdens of life, and you live in this garden, this paradise, and you sort of take things easy, and you have other people of the professions. They seek you for your knowledge, and you pass your knowledge on to those people. But for the most part, you're done working. You're done serving. Yeah, kind of like Social Security in our current age. A little different, but we have Kemeka. She's this elderly woman who's this nice lady, beautiful to an elderly person, very respected. And the doctor comes in, and he's very smitten by her. He's smitten by her beauty, but more specifically, smitten by her mutual respect that she offers him. And they have this wonderful connection, this connection of mutual respect, and they're just.
And it's the only time that the doctor is allowed to be smitten by another person in the 20th century.
In the 20th century.
Yeah. 21st century we go different, but in the 20th century Doctor Who, it's the only time. It's wonderful, and it's beautiful, and I wish it would have happened more. Perfect past tense, would have happened more. I wish it would have happened more, but English is a funny language. All right.
But also speaking of English, and in Europe, the producers of Doctor Who, another production inquiry. Speaking of the production in Europe of Doctor Who, they're representing these. They have these European actors representing these Aztec characters, and you're talking about production-wise, they're still in black and white, and it's a lot easier for them to put on whatever makeup to sort of darken up their complexion to represent these Aztec characters. And
black and white.
Yeah, it is black and white. So it was a lot easier for them to do that rather than in color. It would have been a much more arduous journey to go through makeup and sort of get the right tones and complexions. But because it's black and white, they could just put whatever on to darken their complexions. Kind of like Psycho, is in black and white.
Psycho.
Yeah, so Psycho, the movie, Psycho, they chose to go black and white as an aesthetic thing. Also because the director was self-funding these movies, so they did it for a production cost. She chocolate syrup, because it's in black and white instead of using blood, red, coloring. He could just use chocolate syrup to represent blood in the shower scene where the lady gets stabbed, and that saved a lot on costs because it's in black and white, and it sort of had the physics, with the water in the shower and they're doing the murder scene. In the same way, in Doctor Who is in black and white, and they could, use whatever kind of makeup to darken their complexions to represent these Aztec characters, these European actors representing the Aztec characters, because Europeans, just like Americans, are very white. We're very white people, but to represent Aztecs, they had to darken their complexions to play these roles as Ixtha and Laxor and Othlok. But they didn't have to get the color tone exactly right because it's in black and white, which is cool. But where they spared on the makeup costs, they really spent a lot because of the success of Doctor Who on the production value. With the costumes and the sets, we were talking about how they had, the backdrops, the paintings to represent the city, the Aztec culture. It's really cool. It kind of, overall, the plot reminded me of El Dorado, if you've ever seen that, animated TV, the animated movie.
Oh, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp? I don't think he's in that one, but it's called El Dorado. It's this, animated TV show, the movie El Dorado. It's a musical.
Okay.
But the plot's very much the same. They stumble upon this ancient, Mayan or Aztec civilization of El Dorado, and they think they're gods, and they sort of play that part to make their escape, and exactly what the Doctor and his companions do. Again, the companions are getting into trouble because they're not listening to the Doctor, as always. Barbara especially, on one hand, she's really coming into her own. She's shining as her own character. She's taking charge. But on the other hand, she's really making mistakes. She's trying to change history because she's like, the Aztecs are making sacrifices, and that's really not right morally to her. Back in time in their culture, that is totally normal to them and even honorary. And it really shows, it rears its ugly head in that one episode, the second episode where they're making the human sacrifice, and then Barbara playing Yataxa, and she's like, no, human sacrifices are not necessary. And the human sacrifice was like, you bring dishonor to me. I'm trying to honor myself as being the sacrifices.
Exactly.
And then the antagonist, Laxor, is like, then show your honor and jump off this cliff. And he jumps off the cliff as a sacrifice. And the rains come. And it's like, she's trying to change this whole culture and this whole religion that they already have set up. And it's really not working out. And the Doctor confronts Barbara. He's really upset. And he's like, what are you trying to do? You can't change history. I've tried, and I want to ask your opinion. The Doctor's saying to Barbara, he's like, you can't change history. History will always be the same. He's almost saying that he's tried before. That has to does it ever go back and explain how maybe the Doctor has tried to change history and
there are
successful.
There are certain fixed points in time you cannot change.
Right.
And as much as you want to change it, it cannot change.
Mm-hmm.
And those certain fixed points in time are not absolutely delineated. But
absolutely delineated.
Delineated, right. But this is one of them. And you cannot change those fixed points in time, no matter how much you want it to. No matter how much you want to try, you cannot do it. And Barbara ends up, being one of those who tried but who cannot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also the Doctor's trying to explain that to her, and at the same time, he's like, you cannot change the course of history. Right. It's almost as if he's crying, I've tried it before and it's been unsuccessful. Do you ever see in the future where maybe a what's the word? Preemptively? No. The trio and the pre. You have Star Wars and the
prequels?
Prequels, yeah. Is there ever a prequel to the Doctor trying to change the past and being unsuccessful? Maybe that's where he's coming from, explaining to Barbara. He's like, you can't change history. He's almost saying as if he's tried before and was unsuccessful.
Okay. Dalek's master plan.
Dalek's master plan.
Is it close to... No. Genesis of the Daleks.
Genesis of the Daleks.
Is the closest we get to the Doctor trying to change history but not being able to.
Yeah, because
Genesis, Genesis of the Daleks. The Doctor tries to change the beginnings of the Daleks and doesn't because he can't, and it's drama. It is so drama. And it is what he does, but he cannot do in his classic.
Yeah, so he's tried this before in the Daleks Genesis. He's trying to change history, but he's really unable to. And having this experience, he goes to Barbara and he's like, don't try to change the past because you really can't. And theoretically, stepping back from the podcast, the production value and the story of Doctor Who, we have these two, colliding theories of, history. We have this linear timeline of history as the set times and events, and you can travel back, but you can't change what's set up. But opposed to that, we also have the butterfly effect. And the butterfly effect theory goes completely against that. If you ever travel back in time and you have any sort of influence or effect on time, it can drastically impact the future. What are your theories on that?
I love that movie.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
The movie, the
butterfly effect. You explain,
I love that movie.
The butterfly effect.
I love that
and that whole theory, and how that conflicts against Doctor Who. I'll be right back. Dr. Hender's gonna explain to us the difference between the butterfly effect and Dr.
It's okay. This is the wonderfulness of real-time podcasting. It is what it is. Yes, it is. And no editing, no trying to make it something it's not. It is what it is. Anyway, Butterfly Effect, the movie. I love the movie. The movie comes from the understanding of the story before it. The story before it is if you step on a butterfly in the past, you can change the entire future. You can change what it is, what everything is, unto all time. Good theory. I love the theory. The movie with the guy from the 70s show, Kutcher, I think is his name. Anyway, good movie if you go with the fact, with the original editing, the original ending where he kills himself in the womb to not allow things to happen. That is the best ending. I love the Japanese American ending, but anyway, so, and the ending, is a movie where he stops what he is so that he can create what he wants to be at the expense of his own existence and his own happening. Yeah. It's an interesting movie, a wonderful movie, and it is what it is. Butterfly Effect. That guy from the 70s show. I am so drunk. It's okay. I'll drink to you, those who are watching this. May you find glory and fun and joy in this video.
Alrighty, I'm back.
Good.
I apologize for the hiatus I left you on. I'm a little bit.
We're all drunk. It's good.
That's true. I'm a little lightweight, and this wine just shoots right through me. I need a bathroom break every once in a while.
Those who find joy in this video.
Joy in this video. I'm drinking in that as well.
Much more, but it's okay.
Thank you for joining us back on a short hiatus of a bathroom break. Wine just shoots right through me, and we talked earlier about how I just have the smallest bladder. So
right, he's the honor you don't.
I let Hatter rant a little bit and vent a little bit about, you're talking about the butterfly effect and how that sort of differs from the Doctor Who's take on time travel, and how history is really linear and you can't change the past, and that's the Doctor's warning to Barbara when she's trying to change the past, and she's trying to change the fact that Aztecs don't have to offer sacrifices and maybe they'll change their whole civilization, and the Doctor goes, you can't change the past, and almost as if he's saying, I've tried before, and you see how that sort of alludes to the future as a foreshadowing of the genesis of the Daleks, and that's really cool. A cool callback to the future episodes, foreshadowing, let's say. But I left the room. I had a bathroom break, so no spoilers. Our next question is, I was just wondering. Throughout every single serial, we have the Doctor, and we have the Doctor's cane, and he sort of, is a much elderly man. He's wobbling around. He hasn't been reincarnated as the next Doctor quite yet, not till later on, and he uses his cane to walk around. And I was wondering, is this really, production-wise, a stylistic, addition to the Doctor's wardrobe, or is there a plot, mechanic explaining why the Doctor needs this cane to hobble around? Is that ever explained later? Or maybe it's just part of his wardrobe, maybe part of his character? What do you think about that?
I have no bloody clue.
Me too.
You're talking about the first Doctor, right?
Yeah, the first Doctor. This guy here.
Yeah.
He uses a cane as part of his wardrobe. He sort of hobbles around. Sometimes. He's very elderly. He hobbles around with his cane. I guess, maybe that's just part of his wardrobe. He's getting older as a Doctor before he reincarnates. I don't even know how that whole process takes place.
It's weird but yeah.
Yeah.
The first Doctor, he's already old.
He's very old.
Hartnell is old. He's 57, 58 when we reach him here.
Mm-hmm.
And he went through the Second World War. And he's old. It's okay.
Yeah. We also have the War Doctor who went through the...
Yeah, it's much later.
Much later, but it's sort of a prelude.
No. It's 50 years later,
Okay. Well,
50 years later.
Good deal. This was our 4-episode serial. We sort of talked about the production value and the production aspects of the wardrobes and the sets, and we also talked about plot-wise the different companions and antagonists and sort of the character development there. Susan, she's sort of this handmaiden of Barbara playing Yatexa, and she's she's learning as always. She's sort of this ingenue, and Ian was a super cool I felt like he really developed a lot during this serial as the companions. He was a man's man. And Barbara too. She really came into her own as the Atexa. She took charge and she was really leading. She's playing these two high priests against each other. But also Ian, he was this chosen warrior. I thought he was absolutely awesome, and he's coming into his own. Hand-to-hand combat against Atexa. He's like, I can defeat someone with this thumb, and he really goes into his knowledge of pressure points, and he's finding Atexa. He's just a cool dude all around. So all the companions had great development. The Doctor had great development during this serial, as he had his own love interest, and he's going, also trying to get the companions out there. We talked earlier about how in a couple episodes ago how serials really help develop characters. Serials have several episodes in them, and they really get to expound upon these character development. They have several episodes to develop the characters, not only the characters but the sets as itself. Like last week we explored the Keys of Marinus. We had this whole planet, and something I was thinking before that serial, we always go and visit these different planets, but they never really, delve in or upon these planets as sort of these worlds of its own. But the Keys of Marinus really corrected that, as they had this expanded budget for sets, and they really used that. They showed the Keys of Marinus, this planet. They showed all sorts of different sides of it. They showed this sea of acid, and they also have the jungle of the Marinus and the winter and all these different sets. And it was really cool. It really made the planet feel like a planet, as it had all these different seasons, these different areas they explored. And the same thing with, the Aztecs is really localized in this one city, but in the same way, where they could reuse the same sets, they really had these awesome, beautiful costumes. But it's really cool. I really enjoyed this serial, all 4 episodes. Thank you so much for joining us. We talked about our personal lives a little bit, and we expounded upon the production and the plot and the development of the characters. Any last comments you'd like to add?
Alright, trying to end everything prematurely, but
prematurely. I feel like we've been over an hour at least.
I have no idea what the time is.
I feel like it's about the same time as.
But no.
It was a little bit shorter. It was a little, 4 episodes. I'm sorry if we're ending it.
4 episodes.
4 episodes. I'm sorry if we're ending a little prematurely. I felt like
it's okay. We're drunk. Finish your wine.
I sure will. Let's
finish your wine.
Cheers.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who.
You alright? Alright, and that's a wrap.
It's harsh.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Join us next week. We'll go to the next serial. Thank you so much. This is Strong Doctor Who, episode 6, The Aztecs. Have fun. We'll see you next week. Alright. Goodbye. We have the bucket. You need the bucket? I have the bucket.